Mike Moore Media.
On our media line, Phillip Griffin, Master Wildlife Officer with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. And it's good to have you back on the program. Been a while since we talked. How are you?
Doing great. I hope you are. It has been a while.
I know. Yeah, we should do this more often. But
Yes,
here we are. The weather's getting nicer. People out in the river. And we wanted to get an update on you, the do's and don'ts of things we need to be aware of when we're on the rivers, Phillip.
Yes, sir. It's getting warmer somewhat. It's still kind of cool. Still got some cool days, but yeah, folks are getting out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We need to be safe on the water, around the rivers, on the lakes, on boats. Doesn't matter where you are around the water. It can be a dangerous thing.
Now, what are some things we need to be prepared for? A lot of people tubing, they're in kayaks, they're doing all of that. Some maybe just a checklist before we even get in the water, whether it is the river or the lake.
I know that I guess on the rivers that that the fluctuation of the river and the flow can change at any point, and sometimes that current is stronger than what you think that it is. Make sure that you know that you can swim and have your safety equipment, your PFD for everybody, and especially if you're on a boat, having a PFD for everybody on board, and anybody that's under 13's got to have a life jacket. So make sure that you have all your safety equipment with you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so anyone under the age of 13 has to have a life jacket.
Yep, on a vessel, yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. Well, there's some good tips right up front. And I think sometimes, I'm glad you mentioned the water flow there because that does change from time to time. We had this situation Sunday at Madison River Park. I think the water there was about 12 to 15 feet deep normally, and I think that's what it was Sunday. But that does change, and that changes the whole picture, doesn't it?
It sure does. Even if it's not raining where you are, it could be a downpour rain somewhere upstream, and now water's coming down, and you're not sure if you're aware there's a dam, and they release water. Most of the time they're on a schedule, but if they're not, or you don't know the schedule, that water could rise and the flow could increase real rapidly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, when people are tubing, let's talk about that. There seem to be more and more of that. What are some specific things there that we need to make sure we're doing?
If you're in a group, just make sure you're staying in your group and being aware of your surroundings. If you're, I know there's a situation. I guess it was last year, 2 years ago, on the Dan River. Folks got too close to the overhead dams. You need to stay away from the dams. And if you're planning on putting in one place and you're taking out down below, just make sure you know the hazards that are in between and where you need to take out. Mm-hmm. But certainly stay with your group. And I know there's some places that alcohol is not allowed on the waterways. So just make sure that you're being mindful of that, and of course get your litter out of the water.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, always. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there's some things to be aware of for sure. Now, when we're looking at holidays coming up with Memorial Day and all kinds of things as we get into the summer season, some specifics there, Phillip, that we need to make sure we know about.
Yeah, if you're going to get out on a boat, January 1st, 1988 is the cutoff where if you're going to operate a boat that's got more than 10 horsepower on that vessel, you've got to have a boater safety course. So we recommend everyone go through a boater safety course. If you're new to boating or never really been on a boat, and then you've bought a boat, take that course. But by law, January 1st, 1988, you must take that course in order to operate. The jet skis, there is an age restriction. Anyone that's under 14 is not allowed to operate a jet ski at all. And then 14 and up, they've got to go through that boater safety course before they can get on there.
So there's some really some age restrictions that we certainly need to be aware of for sure. And where can we get that information? So make sure we're on the same page.
On North Carolina Wildlife's website, ncwildlife.org. There's a boating tab in there that's got the boating and where you can sign up for our in-person boating classes, and there's some links for some online classes if you don't have time to or schedule the in-person classes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And the classes are free. They're 6 hours to 5 hours plus a test. Every county is teaching them, so there should be one close by.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For everyone.
And I wonder, I know you folks do a really good job of getting the word out there and educating people, but I'm afraid that maybe some people get out there on the water and they don't even know about this, don't they?
They sure do.
Yeah.
Sure do.
Okay.
People buy boats, secondhand boats from your neighbor, or somebody hands them one down from a grandparent, and they decide they can just get on the water. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Yeah, okay. So make sure that you are prepared and you go through the right training and all of that.
That's correct. So through that boater safety course, it'll tell you what safety equipment that you must have on your boat. You need a wearable life jacket or PFD for everybody on board. You need a Type 4 throwable for any vessel that's under 16 foot. We've got to have a fire extinguisher on that vessel as well. And then, like I said, under 13, anyone that's on that vessel that's under 13 has to have that life jacket on at all times.
Okay. So it would be smart for us to go to ncwildlife.org and make sure we're following all the rules and regulations there to do what needs to be done legally and to meet the law. That's
correct. Yes, sir. And also talks about the lights that have to, lights on your boat if you plan on to be out there after dark to watch the fireworks or stuff, especially coming up for July 4th. Those lights have to be on at sunset, and then they have to stay on until sunrise. Mm-hmm. If you plan on being out there all night, but definitely those lights got to be on before sunset, and even if it's still kind of light outside.
It just all comes down to being aware and knowledgeable, and get the proper training, and just do the right thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And along with that, doing the right thing is having a sober operator behind the wheel, just like on the road. We not having impaired operators out on the waterway is something that we're looking for. Is out there trying to make sure that nobody's operating while under the influence, and that could be alcohol, drugs, medications that influence your impairedness. So make sure that you have a designated driver if you're planning on participating in drinking and driving.
Just be responsible. Be a responsible driver on the water, on the roads, and all of that. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yep. Well, I said a moment ago, Memorial Day is coming up. I do know Memorial Day has come and gone, but I'm thinking ahead, I guess, to July 4th, and you kind of mentioned that a moment ago there, Phillip. But that's a busy travel time, and people on the waters even more.
That's correct. Sure is. And the Highway Patrol and Wildlife will be doing campaigns to make sure that especially cracking down on that impaired operator situation. So we'll be out there looking for that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And making sure for everybody that's safe on the road and on the water.
Yeah. All right. Well, and I know we've got a beautiful state. We've got a lot of people that the resources to put it all together to make it happen. But it all comes down, it was said a moment ago, just be responsible when you're out there and in a boat and others with you, and make sure you're doing everything you should do. Anything else we need to mention? Those are some of the things I certainly wanted us to go over. But I know there's so much going on when it comes to North Carolina wildlife. And some things, maybe some other things you wanted to mention, Phillip?
Just the wearing your life jacket. Anyone that's over 13 and older, life jackets on the boat. You're not required to wear them, but we recommend that you wear them. In 2022, last year, 20 people lost their lives in North Carolina. 16 of those were not wearing their life jacket. So even though you may be a strong swimmer, if you fall out of the boat, bump your head or something, there's a potential that you won't have your wits about you and be able to swim. So have that life jacket on. We recommend wearing those, even not just to have them on the boat, but having them on.
Yeah. Be prepared. That's another couple of good words. Just be prepared.
Oh, yeah. Being prepared, just like you said at the beginning of the podcast, the folks in the river go out there and have fun swimming, even on the tubes, but having your life jacket available. And then folks that are around, if you see somebody in trouble, would recommend to throw something as far as if you got a life jacket or reach for somebody. North Carolina Wildlife just started a swiftwater rescue team and doing lots of different training to be able to get in that swiftwater to rescue folks. And it takes a lot of training, and somebody that may not have the training and the strength to get in that water to save somebody, recommend you staying out of the water so you don't add to the problem.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good point too. Just don't even put yourself in that situation.
That's right.
Yeah,
for sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, our time's just about up. Again, tell us the best place to find out more information about some of the things you're talking about today, Phillip.
For all your wildlife needs, hunting, fishing, and especially boating that we're talking about, go to ncwildlife.org, ncwildlife.org.
Okay, it's all right there. Okay. And I'm wondering, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but it is a big state. How many people do we have working with NC Wildlife, and maybe just a kind of a ballpark figure, because there are a lot of people involved, aren't there?
Oh, there certainly are. Just in the enforcement side, we've got about 200 officers, and then there's a slew of others that are in the biology, fisheries that maintain our ramps and fishing access areas. We've got a large agency that comes all together to support the North Carolina wildlife.
Mm-hmm. Lots of people to make it happen. And how long have you been doing what you're doing?
About 6.5 years.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being there and all of the team with NC Wildlife. And it's good to have you on the program here, and we'll talk again.
Yes, sir. Hope so soon.
All right. Thank you, Phillip. Have a good week. All right.
You too.
Bye. All right, an update there. A lot of important things. If you missed some of that, you can go back and listen to this podcast. It is archived permanently at mikemore.media. Phillip Griffin is Master Wildlife Officer with the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission. Lots of good information there about boater and lake safety and being in the water and all of those, and just the things you should and should not do. Again, I'll mention that website because it is a great tool for information. That is ncwildlife.org. So if you have any questions at all, contact information there as well, and everything about whatever you need to know if you're out and about in North Carolina. ncwildlife.org.